right. Shalom. All right. Say Shalom. It's the brother Maccabee from GMS, Colorado. I want to first and foremost say all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. All right. I want to give double honors to the elders of GMS who taught us this word and this truth. I want to say Shalom to all the Akim pushing this truth and sincerity around the four corners of the world. All right. Hold up 1 second. All right. This lesson, Lord willing, it's edifying. It's just a brief, Lord willing, it's a little brief to the history of the Khazarian Empire. All right. The man that you see on the screen here is Kagan Bulan, which more or less was not necessarily the first king of the Khazars or leader of the Khazars, but one of the most important kings of the Khazars. And just to kind of show throughout these devils' history, man, that they just kind of try to fit and twist their way into wherever they can fit in, if that makes sense. Salakia. Their history, more or less, at least the start of the Khazarian Empire, these clowns are the descendants of the Herodian Empire, all right, being King Herod and his line, going back to then. Just gonna drop some information, more or less, on the empire itself, what it was, and just try to kind of, just give some key information to what's going on with them. This video was inspired by quite a few things. The Spirit was just kind of on me to do this, and then in the same week or so, Elder Ramlab and then the Elder Tahar did a wonderful sit down that I suggest all brothers kind of go check it out, on just the Herodians and the Herodian Empire in general, and kind of what was going on. Like Elder Ramlab said in his sit down, all right, during this kind of time period, there was, or at least when these, I'll get into the empire first and kind of go back to that. Anyway, I got a few scripts on it as well, but get this information out. All right, so the Khazarian Empire really kind of popped up around 650 AD. It lasted until about 1048 AD. Okay, they had 3 different capitals. All of them more or less being in the North Caucasus, or the western shores of the Caspian Sea at one point, and then also being located near a big river. Forget the name of the river, but towards the end of their empire, their capital was moved towards the river. They had, it was more or less, it was kind of like America in the way that they was multi ethnic. All right, it was inhabited by a multitude of different religions, at least. All right, at the time period, their first ruler, more or less, was named Tong Yubag, and he was their ruler from the time of get out of this. The time of 618 to about 620. This is prior to them really being an empire. Anyway, the Jews of Khazaria, the Jews of Khazaria, or the false Jews, we'll call them. They were more or less they became Jews, or at least followed. We'll just say that they became Talmudic. All right, they converted to Talmudism under Bulan. They did not convert, like Elder Ramlab said, to the. They did not convert to the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai. All right. Now they speak on the 3 Abrahamic religions, would shape his own religion. All right, so he shaped his own religion, more or less, with beliefs. He would invite representatives from each of the main religions. All right, that at the time being Christianity, Muslim, and then Talmudic Judaism. All right, which is not biblical Judaism. Judaism is not biblical, if that makes sense. Lord willing, it does. All right, and he invited these representatives to explain their fundamentals. All right, their fundamental tenets. In the end, he chose Judaism. All right, and then his grandson. And when I say Judaism, like I said, he chose the Talmudic version of as you can see on the screen below here, Talmudic forms of Judaism. All right, homosexuality, all this wicked shit. All right. All right. Now, once they converted, his grandsons, he started to name all his line, basically after Israelite names, man. All right. His grandson's name was Obadiah. All right. The grandson of Bulan, who had a son who was later, and then he had a son Hezekiah, who also led their nation in the mid 9th century. And like Elder Ramlab had said, when this happened, there was a war going on between Christianity and Muslim, and they wanted to get the Khazars to convert to either religion. Now, and like he said, the Caucasus Mountains was a strategic area, strategic point. All right, they had strategic points and places where it's hard to conquer a nation that lives among the mountains in the plains of Khazaria. All right. They had retreat points and points that they could fall back to and hold you off. And it made it difficult to conquer them. So a lot of these nations wanted them to be a part of their nation, considering how close it was to the Byzantine Empire and as well as close as it was to the Middle East. And we'll kind of get into some of those other nations as well in a little bit. So like I was saying, the Khazars, or Hezekiah being their leader in the mid to 9th century, Bulan brought, and we'll go back to Bulan now and what he kind of did. He brought rabbinical scholars from Babylon. All right. The scholars that he brought in to teach them the Talmud were from Babylon, which it makes a lot of sense when you kind of think about that, because, where else would they have learned this Talmudic and wicked way to practice their religion? Why not? Why wouldn't it be Babylon? To teach them and to build yashavats or yashavas, which is a Yiddish, which is known as a Jewish institution, basically a fake and phony school for the studies of the traditional religious text, primarily being the Talmud, which is actually written in the explanation that their primary text is the Talmud. All right, and the Torah and the Torah as well, but more or less the Talmud being the main point. That was their primary study, and they set up schools all over their lands with these teachers from Babylon, these rabbis from Babylon, to teach them the Talmud, which basically became their base religion from that point forward. All right. The ruler, Slakia, and then they had another ruler later named Manasseh. All right, with an E, because you know how that Yiddish be. All right, Yiddish, they use the wrong form of Hebrew, not the original and pure form of Hebrew, the Lashon Kadash. All right, they do not use it. He reigned in the mid to late 9th century. Just as a side note, all right, they were surrounded by Turks at the time, Mongolian, Russian, Hungarian, Chinese, Persian, and Korean peoples, which they all have their own lots in the actual nations, but those were the more or less that they were surrounded by Gog, Magog, and the some of the Persian nations, Slovakia. I mean, what's the word I'm looking for? Ishmael and So, man, it's leaving me at the moment. What's the word I'm looking for? Oh, and Moab, Salakia. So anyway, let's go down here. I just made note of some of their rulers that they had. They had a ruler that was named Hanukkah, who died young. His uncle Benjamin ruled in his place. Just kind of side notes. But we'll go down to the points here. To the extent of Salakia, and this is one of their only. This is one of the writings here from their ruler Benjamin. All right. The extent amount of Benjamin's reign comes from the Salakia. It's one of the Khazarian names. It's difficult to read. Schechter, I believe his name is Schechter. The Schechter text, who anonymously the author wrote of a war between Benjamin's Khazars and a coalition of nations, and they have them written here. I believe it's in the Roman text, SYTWRQY and BM and PYYNYL, who were instigated and aided by MQDWN or Macedon. Okay, so they were these wars that they wound up fighting. These Khazarians, a lot of their wars that they wound up fighting was for Macedon, which later, it kind of makes a lot of sense, and why they were doing it now that we know what we know as being in this truth, who Macedon is and what they were representing. All right, the so-called Edomites, man, they were all Edomites, and Macedon used the Khazarians to their will a lot of the time. Salakia, and used in medieval or Jewish documents to refer, all right, Macedon being a nation that you're gonna get a kick from this, man. It's used in medieval or Jewish doc to refer to the Eastern Roman Empire, particularly under its Macedonian dynasty, all right, or the Byzantine Empire. So all them nations really fall under one nation, that being Esau, man, Esau, Edom. All right, Esau, Edom being the main. That's just what it comes down to, man. All right, these Edomites are all one nation. Whether you're a Russian or American, British, from the Byzantine Empire, a so-called Greek. If you're not one of these heathens, and if you're not an Ishmaelite, if you're not from the nation of Ammon or any of the other nation, you're an Edomite, man. If you're a so-called white person, if you identify with yourself as so-called white, so-called Caucasian, you are an Edomite, which the Khazarians came from the Caucasus Mountains, man. That's their homeland. Okay, and like the text reads, the Macedonians, which were later referred to as the Eastern Roman Empire, or just the Roman Empire in general, because they were Edomites as well. All right, which later became the Byzantine Empire, okay, which now today is you Russians, you so-called Israelis, you so-called English people, if you're an Edomite, man, you're an Edomite. All right, you can call yourself whatever name you want to call yourself, but the history shows that all of you are Edomites, man. If you go back run it back through the history, you're gonna find that you're an Edomite. All right, you're either an Israelite, a heathen, or that's just how it is. If you ain't an Israelite, you're a heathen. So it ain't like you just winning because you ain't an Edomite. But just the whole point being, man, let me read it again. Macedon, which was actually, they were aided and instigated these wars that the Khazars found themselves fighting, were aided and instigated by Macedon. Oh, Salakia. Let me go back to what I was at. These images, Lord willing, it'll come back up. Okay, like I said, they were surrounded by the Uzis, which is the Turkish word for tribe, actually. And let's see why won't this come up? It's all right. We're gonna try to go to some scripts anyway. here in a second, so we'll just pull that up. All right. The Khazars, all right, Salakia, Aaron the second, the son of Benjamin, reigned, and he kind of launched these wars against the Khazarians. Salakia, excuse me. He fought these wars with the Khazarians during this time period, and the Eastern Roman Empire inspired a coalition that was actually led by the Alans, and they were allied with Aaron's father at the time. So they actually had a treaty with another nation, which I believe the Alans were actually Jake's. I'd have to do a little more study into who they actually were, but I believe that they were a Germanic tribe, which at that time period would have been more or less they would have been Jake's. So Aaron defeated his enemies with the help of he defeated the Alans with the help of a Turkish tribe, all right, mercenaries, to capture the king of the Alans alive, and then he actually married the daughter of this king, and then became ruler over them as well in Germania. So that's how you get all these Khazars that leaked into Germany, okay? Which, if you know anything about where the Jews resonate, that's more or less where a lot of them kind of went to that area, man. All right, and they're and then kind of shortly after that, their empire slips from history. They just kind of disappear, but they didn't really necessarily just go away. All right, you know what if you know this truth, you know what happened. They mixed in with those people. They took over more or less that region, and I'll just kind of read the regions that their nation kind of populates today. Salakia, I'll pronounce them the best I can. Azerbaijan, Armenia, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Moldova, Russia, Turkey, Ukraine, and Uzbekistan. All right, they all adopted Talmudism. All right, is more or less, instead of following the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, like the elder put out in his sit down. They didn't convert to the actual law, statutes, and commandments of the Bible. All right, and I just want to grab one scripture real quick. So that lie of them being the people of the Lord, that lie is being exposed, man. All right, and it's OV for you Edomites, man. It's coming to that time is coming to an end, man. All right, you've done all manners of wickedness. You've lied about history. You've not told the truth about who you really are. All right, and that time is coming to an end. And let me go to Revelation. I got kind of two scriptures in Revelation I want to bring out. Let's see. Let's go to this real quick. Salakia. I'll bring this out. Here we go. Let's go to Revelation 2:9. I know thy works and thy tribulation. Yeah, that's where I want to start. I know thy works and thy tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. I know the blasphemies of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Okay, and I'm going to go down a little bit, down to... Let me go over one chapter real quick. Read 3 and 9 as well. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship at thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. All right, and it's a lot more that you can go into on that, but I just wanted to make that point, man. That the time of Israel is at hand, man. All right, these heathens are fixing to. Hey, man, it's over for them. All right, it's time to get right as an Israelite. It's time to get in this word, know the truth. All right, this truth is coming out. It's coming out fast and furious, man. All right, it's the year of the triple D, man. All right, death, destruction, and diligence, man. So it's time to really get into these scripts. It's time to really learn, get your mind right, know your history, read, study. You know, do everything you got to do to get right, man. Because we living in the last moments of the last days, man. All right? And, you know, Lord willing, I hope that this information was edifying. I hope that the body was edified. I hope I was able to, you know, bring it out with truth and sincerity. And until the next one, Shalom. I want to say all praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai. All right? Double honors unto the elders of GMS. And Shalom to all the Akim who are pushing this word in truth and sincerity. All right? Shalom.